Always just that active red line, defending. I think it's like.
Yeah, they're singing a song about me. I can't lie, man. My intro is wavy. Shout out to Little Nitty for making that, man. I always find myself bobbing and weaving to it. I hope everyone's in good spirits. People deluded, I'm back again, and all of those sort of things. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and of course, good night, whoever you are and wherever you are on this world. Hope everyone's in good spirits. Hope everyone's got their health. Love to extend that to their loved ones. With it being Wednesday, I hope. Again, I should know the date. Wednesday, the 13th of October, midway point of the week. I hope you're all moving that much closer. Pardon me, apologies, to your goals, hopes, dreams, and aspirations, and you're moving further towards, having a life and creating a life that you lot want, people. One love to everybody that's tuned in. Please make sure you're following and obviously subscribing on Twitch. Also, by that logic as well, as you know, I'm going to go live again at 11:30. If you lot give me a second, I'll be provided. Big up the 4 people who've hit the like button on that already, because you're doing your best to combat the trolls and things. But yeah, 11:30, I'm going live again. I'll be speaking about the men behind me and Mikel Arteta and Thierry Henry. El Nene apparently closer to Galatasaray. I've been linked with Isaac, so a bear of things there. Here we're going to speak about Arsene Wenger, a couple of other neutral points. If you lot have got any questions, talking points, and whatever, get them in. But yeah, man, big up DJ. Come on, big up Razul. I appreciate you, man. Hope your morning's been good so far, DG. Of course, man, I'd like to say I hope your morning and everything else has been great. It's been good. First things first, I've woke up with air in my lungs, air in my lungs. A lot of gratitude in that regard, I got air in my lungs. I can, I can wipe my ass, I can walk, I can do things that certain people, we take for granted. So there's always a chance of a new life. There's always a chance of moving through adversity and things. My morning's been good. You can't see it right now, but you get me? I'm just maneuvering through this cornmeal porridge. I can't lie. This is the second bowl. Probably eyes too big for my belly. So yeah, it's cool, man. I'm cool, man. And again, it's always better when I've got you guys locked in, because again, I've always said it, I'm privileged to have the support network, the fan base, DG Nation, whatever you want to call it. You lot support the thing. You lot, offer good opinions. You lot, you lot make it worthwhile. There'll be no point sitting here if I was chatting to myself and all of those sort of things, people. It'd be dead, wouldn't it? So yeah, I appreciate you lot, man. So one love for you lot tuned in and all of those things. I mean, it technically says there's only one viewer at this moment in time. However, there's about 3 people in the comments. So I don't know what's going on, man. I don't know if Twitch is sending out them alerts or whatever, but we keep moving. So yeah, man, as I said, get any opinions and whatnot in. Please make sure you open up another tab, hit your reminders for the next video and whatnot. You don't miss a thing. Morning back at you. So yeah, let's crack on, people. I'm actually making sure that I'm not actually deleting nothing, because again, we've got 2 live streams and I think I've actually sorted out everything. But obviously, if I share my screen, first thing I wanted to say in relation to Arsene Wenger, apparently there's a good chance that offside calls will be made automatically using technology at the 2022 World Cup. So next October, a year from now, around them times, there could be that. Now, obviously, I don't know how it would work, but, it'll make it better and things like that, I suppose. Anything that could be done with technology, we'll always welcome it, so we can get the right decisions and quicker decisions and less conscientious moments, less celebrating when the goal's offside, less marginal calls, etc., etc. And we know do you know what? The rule of offside is how it is, because I find myself in 2 minds. When you see things like Kylian Mbappe, the offside, where they've said Garcia is trying to play the ball. As a defender, as a right back, what do you expect man to do? Just let him go through. If a man's offside, a man's offside. I just think in defending, in relation to defending, it's being stamped out. You can't tackle, you can't have arms. If I try to slide to block a shot, and it hits my arm, they're gonna say it's a penalty. Really, really and truly. Luke Shaw. Yeah, we're gonna talk about England as well. Luke Shaw yesterday. Don't know if that was a penalty. Personally, I think it is, but to get it, I just feel that defending is being stamped out. But at the same time, I do feel, you've got to adapt to survive. And I don't agree with the rule. I don't agree with how it's implemented. But at the same time, if this is the game, this is the game. So according to today's logic, it is a penalty. But I think the whole law, I mean, an offside call, the whole law needs to be revamped, reworked, and ultimately changed, because you're not going to get what you need to get, people. Let's look at Arsene Wenger. As you lot can see here, people, again, on the topic of offsides, Arsene Wenger indicates offside calls could be automated by 2022. Apparently his words were transcribed by RMC. Apparently he said the next great generation of refereeing, and we all know, back to his Arsenal days, he's been very strong about refereeing and their ability and things, and rightly so. I think referees and journalists are the most protective individuals in this world. But keeping up the theme with Arsene Wenger, people, as you lot can see here, Arsene Wenger will return to the dugout for the first time since leaving Arsenal 3 years ago, when he takes charge of a Saudi Arabian dream team in a one-off match against PSG in January's Redance Season Cup. Forgive me for mispronunciations, as you lot can see here, but yeah, he'll make his return since 2018, and you know, again, it's just a charity event, I'd assume, for the 71-year-old. But we're all happy to see Arsene Wenger back, people. Apparently, it was confirmed on Sunday, as you know. The chairman of Saudi Arabia's General Entertainment Authority confirmed, Tariq Al Sheikh confirmed the return. He said the great international coach Arsene Wenger was signed to lead the stars of Al Hilal and El Nasser against PSG in the Riyadh Season Cup. Apparently, the friendly encounter is part of Saudi Arabia's Redance season, which begins this month and runs through until March 2022. Apparently, this huge event will also see Barcelona take on Boca Juniors for the Maradona Cup, people, in order to obviously honor the late, great Argentine international, RIP. And we also know that Arsene Wenger is currently, working at FIFA. So where that's concerned, that's that, people. So it'd be fantastic to see him back. Really, he does look like, to be fair with you, he does look a lot younger since his playing days now. Obviously, Wenger, I mean, his managerial days, he does look like he's enjoying himself a bit more, but that's that in relation to Arsene Wenger returning, folks. So, yeah, make of that what you will. And I know he's been criticized for some of his decisions since taking that FIFA job in relation to, the well, we're gonna get onto it, but this new format, World Cup, and all these other things, man. He's been quite radical, and I do think change is needed in general, especially radical things, but it is what it is. Now, people, with that being said, just before I forget about it, should we get into England or review the England game? And I need to actually, in the moment, I like to write down my notes, just because, you can lose a lot in a few hours after sleeping. Now, I'm going to check my notes, but off the top of my head, in relation to obviously England and Hungary during 1-1, the first thing I'll say is, I'm not one for police. I'm not one for authority. But one thing I would say is, did the police officers, did we not learn anything from the scenes that happened in the Euros and anything? Because it did look like police were understaffed. I'm pretty sure you lot have all seen the scenes where police are fighting the Hungarians, and to be fair, the Hungarian man are giving the police officers some serious bangs. I can't lie to you, I was a bit conflicted as that, you've got Metropolitan Police who, again, don't have the best relationships with people that look like myself, and you've obviously got these idiots carrying on. I want you both to lose, but yeah, it's looking a bit mad. I was a bit conflicted, but on a serious note, did they not consider, you saw the scenes with Italy and England. You saw the scenes, why are you understaffed? To see the police retreating, I mean, clearly because they're understaffed, and how Hungary are carrying on. England's history of Hungary. Apparently a steward was racially abused and an arrest has been made. But this. So why, again, once can be a mistake, twice is a choice. You've chosen to be idiotic and take chances. Now, Hungary will get fined again. They'll carry on again and again. Some of their fans are being racist. They're booing the knees, and then they've got a black player in their team who's playing quite well. I mean, that's never been a barrier to stop anybody. But it is what it is. And obviously, big up John Stones and everyone else who criticized it. Whether you agree with the knee or not, there's definitely no need to boo it, and definitely no need to take time out of your life to go and get a printed sort of logo. You all saw it where, it's crossing out the knee. I know certain people within this country are probably united with them Hungarian dons, really and truly. And there were even incidences on TFL, really. So that would be the first thing in it. It could have, I won't say it could have been prevented, but it could have been foresaw. So yeah, man. I think it was terrible. But from a footballing perspective, oh, my word. It was a terrible watching it, Obviously, Luke Shaw's moving mad for that penalty. I don't know why. It's too casual from Luke Shaw. It's like he's playing on a beach. It's like he's doing stuff in training. It's like he's playing in the cage. He's tried to do some scissor kick thing. My man's put his head down, and then, sorry, folks. There's obviously been an issue where that's concerned. Sorry, folks. My fan is putting me off. What? I think there's something beaky's happening. Why is it just suddenly? Sorry, folks. Oh, that's right. Something fell on top of the fan, and I started hearing beaky noises. I thought, whoa, is Deluded's room haunted? I thought something's gonna happen. They're gonna get me out of it. I'm thinking I'm just a YouTuber, man. I don't want to go out like that. I thought it was a Mike Myers thing. But carrying on with this, anyways, folks. As I was saying, now I don't know where to start with the football. On one hand, I think it was a positive sort of formation and whatnot, as I could say, with Southgate or personnel. I saw Grealish, Mount, Foden, all in the same sort of lineup. I can't really say you haven't. There's been question marks over can you get 2 of the 3 in? One has to miss out on things, but yeah, the boring was atrocious. The penalty, Luke Shaw is bugging out. I don't know what he's doing. We had large parts of possession. To be fair, Hungary were very organized, very well defensively, and it did frustrate our England players. But other than that, we didn't do much. Games like that. I'm not going to say Rice shouldn't play because Rice is useful, but it's like we're not trying to play through the middle. Like you saw it, Kane's dropping deep. Why Kane needs to drop deep, I get it. He's frustrated, he's not getting the ball. But we've got Grealish and all of these techie players. This is not Spurs in it where you've got Winks and that. We don't need you to drop deep. Players looked frustrated because they couldn't get on the ball, and I think a big part of it, at least a big part of it was for me the midfield. Again, it looked like teething problems with Mount and things. Rice didn't want the ball at all, and again, he's outnumbered there, but he didn't want it. You could keep seeing him saying directing. So the centre halves are just playing sideways. You can't bypass the middle. It did look like we worked on something in training and you did see it, but there's no midfield. You're not going to get the best out of your attacking players, really, really and truly. Didn't understand the Grealish substitution. Again, I don't think he really rates Grealish because I think he was our best player, if I'm honest with you. Harry Kane probably needed to be subbed in the first half, really, completely anonymous. Still looks like the City move is playing a toll on him, and he looks a shadow of his former self, really. We had more than enough on the field regardless to win the game. It's unneeded dropped points, really. It's as simple as that. In obviously, we are going to qualify. It was a qualifier, right? I'm sure it was. We are going to qualify, but yeah, and I mean, we just didn't click. Like Josh is saying, we never had no creativity. It just ultimately didn't click, bro. It just didn't click. It just looked like a bunch of individuals beyond. I think the defensive base looked like a unit. Midfield, Declan Rice don't want the ball there, and it's stuff like that. Not to say anything to make it about Rice, but this is why I can't understand 100 million for Declan Rice. I think he's a good player. I take him at Arsenal. But I can't. He doesn't want the ball, and his sister. To be fair, he's not a player that should, but he doesn't want to get the ball turned, or at least in that game, he doesn't want to. I can't see how. I can't pay. I don't justify paying 100 million for someone that puts a shift in, runs around, and puts tackles in. And I think Rice is a bloody good footballer, but I never saw it. Mount very lucky, to play as long as he did, completely anonymous. I think he did well defensively. He made a couple tackles in that. Foden obviously got an assist. There was 5 Manchester City boys, I believe, on the team. 2 obviously linked up for the goal. 3 if you consider that what Grealish has won it. Foden's delivered it, and obviously, Grealish has won the free kick. Obviously, Foden has delivered the set piece, and it's a good finish from John Stones. He can't buy a game for Man City at this moment in time, and I think that is a record for Manchester City. I think the record for most most players in an England lineup is Arsenal. I think we had 7 at a point. Can't remember the year, but yeah, we did clearly a long time ago. So yeah, man, Kane's had his time to shine. I still think Kane's the guy, but the thing is, for me, this is the issue now. Tammy's injured, and I know Watkins came on, but who are the strikers? If Kane, for me, I take Greenwood every day of the week if fit. I know he's not in the squad. I think Tammy goes. I don't really rate for when it comes to England duty. I like Ings, but Ings, Wilson, Watkins, Bamford, these guys, I don't think it's levels, if I'm honest with you. Declan Rice would have been a lot better in that role. I mean, Calvin Phillips would have been a lot better than Declan Rice in that role, but obviously he's not in the squad. And I think the game showed the limitations. Declan Rice can't be at the base. Even when England were chasing the game and they were going a bit further forward and Declan Rice is gone, no one is picking up the man Declan Rice is supposed to pick up. Common sense. So I think we was very open in the second half on the transition, very open. I did like how Southgate appeared to change things up to chase the game, but yeah, it was the same old boring football, lackluster, struggling for creativity, barely creating, having half chances. It's tired, really and truly. Like it just isn't levels, if we're honest with ourselves. Like it just ain't good enough. Like anyone who can see, anyone's got logic. You just know it isn't levels, really and truly. So it is where that's concerned. Saka is the new boss man for England. I can't lie, Saka's touches were a bit hefty off that bench, innit? Bloody hell. Kane, Greenwood, Tammy, Dominic Calvert-Lewin should be the options. Even Calvert-Lewin, because it gives you something different, innit? But I can't lie. For me, again, I hear it, but I would probably just take 3 of the 4, and then Rashford, Sterling, you lot can be used up there. I'd probably take an extra midfielder or do something else there. Like I said, I don't really rate England striking options. About to say Arsenal, not that they're much better at this moment in time. This England squad should be putting 3, 4 past these man respectfully. No, respectfully, you're right, 100% with ease. But as you know, in football, there's no divine right to do that. And this is the thing, Again, Southgate, if the World Cup's looking shaky, I don't think he should keep his job. I know he got to the semi-finals of a World Cup. He obviously got to the finals of a Euros. I can't say a man shouldn't keep his job, but we're going to keep saying this as long as he's here, really. I think his man management's good. I like how he deals with racism. I like his man management, but in terms of the added needed ingredient to make this squad levels, to get the best out of Foden, Mount, and whatever, because even though all of them didn't really click, they're all on the pitch. We didn't create F all, really. At a time in the first half, Hungary had more chances than us. So it's a mazza. It's an absolute mazza. Saka needs to play every game. To be fair, if you're doing that wing-back role thing, then that opens up bare guys to potentially get that. I did think, obviously, do you know what? Maybe even Henderson should have started ahead of Rice in that role, because I think he's a bit better alone. He's a bit better with his distribution of football. I think Rice is struggles a lot, man. Why is it grassroots football is so much better paced than these people who get paid so much for being lazy? I can't say I agree with that. Hungary were set up much better than the last game, Rice said after the match. Facts, they was, very organized, barely let anything happen. They were very organized defensively, but this is where I don't really see that. I don't see it as an excuse, Cam, because we know that, they were very open in the last game. They're going to change things. They don't want to get a cricket score. They're going to change things. Maybe not so much Declan Rice, but I look at Foden, Grealish, Kane, in fact, West Ham to a degree as well. Half of these players, they play at all the City players. You play at clubs. You play for clubs where teams try. You have to break down teams because they don't want to be broken down. What did we expect Hungary to do? Try and match you lot man to a man? Then we probably would have got what my man was saying earlier about the 3-4 goals. They had to double down on what they was good at. Now, we gave them their goal. Cheap mistake, self-inflicted error. But what can you expect when you apply yourself? Not that I want to praise these idiots, but, when you apply yourself and things, you get the rub of the green when players aren't focused. And I can't lie to you, I'm getting sick and tired of seeing Luke Shaw for England take corners. I'm sorry, Shaw, it's not even a thing, but can't no one else swing a better corner in? What is going on? It's not making sense. For extra live streams and videos, make sure you're subscribing to me on YouTube. I'm going live at 11:30. Who do we blame, the players or the manager? I would say it's the manager, really, because he keeps mix and matching with people. I don't really understand the system. I don't really understand what he wants to do, because he could switch it up. All I could say is thank God the international break is done for now, innit, really? It's absolutely tiresome, man. Very tiresome, gassing up a little result against Andorra where we're playing some 40-year-old men and whatnot, and they're getting cramps and whatnot. But yeah, man. Absolutely, yeah. It is what it is. The less said, the better. I can't believe I watched it. This is why I didn't even do a live stream for it. I knew something was something in my head was saying, "Nah, man, leave it out. Just skip it. Skip that. Don't waste your time." And I thought, yeah, man, I would have fallen asleep on that live stream. Honest to God, I would have fallen asleep. Almost fell asleep watching this thing. If I'm completely honest with you, lot, people. But it is what it is. Make sure you're hitting the like button if you haven't already, folks. Appreciative of everyone who is doing such. Well, I say hit the like button. Go and hit the like button on YouTube. Make sure you're obviously following and subscribing here, folks. It is what it is in that regards, man. Like, I just don't understand what he's doing. 1 minute it's 3 at the back, then it's a 4, then it's this guy, then it's that guy. He puts his hat on shit guys as well. Like, I like Southgate as a person. I just don't like him as a manager. Bro, we've had Kane take his set pieces, Shaw take his set pieces. Like, come on, man. Like, all that attacking quality, You're telling me, and again, tactics are tactics, but you got Grealish, Foden, Mount, couple other guys in the team, and Shaw's taking their corners. Is Shaw the best set piece deliverer? He's not worth 100 million, with respectfully to like some of these other guys and whatnot, and playing for City and that. If he's got to take, if we're really doing this thing for the national team at national level, in a national stadium, and Shaw is taking the set pieces, it's tired. It's like United, it's tired, man. Like, why is Shaw taking corners, man? Did England become lazy because they already knew they were through? I don't think so. I do think we were slightly tired. I do think there's elements of fatigue. I do think the slight rotations made a difference. Obviously, a lot of people are going to get onto Mount. I don't think he's as bad as people make out, but he was quite anonymous, if I'm completely honest with you. Apart from I felt he put a shift in defensively. It probably is. So true. We need a system, our own system to stick to. We're never gonna have our system. We're just gonna copy the in thing. Right now, obviously, we switched to a three at the back off the back of when we started seeing three at the back at club level. You know, if Spain returned to the Spain they used to be, tiki taka, that's what we're gonna start doing. You know, if Brazil makes a comeback, we're gonna start trying to do the Brazilian thing. You know, and any other thing, we just copy cycles. That's all we do. We copy the Germans, copy the Spanish, copy Brazil. Anyone who's got a bit of the limelight is with you lot now. We just copy that. We just copy that thing. Really, we don't have an identity. This is why we're always gonna have good players, and you know, it doesn't matter if it was Scholes, Giggs, and Scholes, Lampard and Gerrard, sorry, or at this moment in time with whoever's in the England squad, always gonna talk about why can't they play well? Why is it imbalanced? Why do we look like a team of individuals? We just looked a bit lackluster. Now, you're not always gonna play well. You're gonna need to just get over the line at times, which I think we did, but you still get the point, folks. You still get the point, man. But in terms of England, that's all I've got to say, man. There's no point wasting any further breath on this. Yeah. It is what it is. Moving away from that, though, folks. Allegedly, you know, there's plans have been unveiled in relation to the biannual World Cup and obviously the Euros, folks, people. So I might as well bring them in there for you guys, people. So yeah, if I share my tab with you guys again, sorry, Mr. Wenger. UEFA sets out plans for hosting Euro 2028. This is the first competition that would clash with FIFA's proposed biannual World Cup. So you can already imagine what's going on. Ad breaks are so annoying. Hey, bro, we've got to make $1. The channel doesn't make itself, man. You know, this is a free platform. We've got to make it somewhere. You can't have it best of both worlds. I'm sure ad breaks on TV are jarring, but we've got to get through it. If you don't want ads, follow/subscribe via Amazon Prime, and that is it. But moving on with this, obviously, you can already imagine the journey we have to go on in relation to the Euros potentially. You know, UEFA and FIFA are probably going to issue threats about if you play in this tournament, you play in that tournament, you can't do this. Obviously, players are not going to be able to play in both. There's an aspect of do you pick either or? Do the countries pick either or? These are a lot of empty threats. Let's be honest. UEFA can say no, no France, no this, no that. And then obviously you have a slightly weaker, I should say slightly, you have a weaker World Cup. But at the same time, you know, France are defending their World Cup title. They're not going to say I don't want to play. So there's going to be a lot of, well, if it was to happen tomorrow, for this example, there's going to be a lot of empty threats from these lot people. But yeah, it could clash. Apparently, UEFA will invite single/joint bids, but only two countries, will be afforded automatic qualification. UEFA President Stefan says the pan-European format for Euro 2020 should not happen again, and he described the amount of traveling for fans as unfair. Yeah, it was, but you don't care about fans. You care about your finances. UEFA has set out its plans for the hosting of Euro 2028. If the proposals are approved, then yeah, you know, it's a bit of a gazy one, man. European football governing body said the competition in 7 years' time was set to feature 24 teams, the same as the two last European Championships. But the amount of participating countries could be increased to 32, with competition regulations yet to have been fixed. UEFA will invite single or joint bids, but only two countries will be afforded automatic qualification. In the case of more than two host associations being chosen, automatic qualification for all associations cannot be guaranteed and would be subject to a decision to be made alongside the qualifying competition. UEFA said 10 venues must be provided with at least one stadium able to hold 60,000. Interesting parties will have until March 23rd next year to confirm their interest, and UEFA will announce the bidders on the 5th of April 2022, and then the successful host will be appointed in September 2023. UEFA have gone on to say, under current calendar plans being developed by FIFA's head of global development, Arsene Wenger, people, continental finals such as the Euros and Copa America would be played in odd years from 2025 onwards, with World Cups taking place in even years. The first in the shortened cycle would be 2028. And obviously, as you know, the UEFA president has tried to say European countries could boycott this World Cup, allegedly. So yeah, and it is unfair, but it is what it is, people. And on the topic of a biannual World Cup, you know, FIFA's president Gianni Infantino has had something to say, people. I think he spoke about the Super Bowl. You know, I don't think this is the actual article, but he said something like the Super Bowl is every year or something. Why not the World Cup? A biannual World Cup will not dilute the magic of the tournament, as its frequency would have no bearings on its quality and prestige, says the FIFA president. As you don't know, FIFA's world governing body, football's world governing body, is conducting a feasibility study into the practicalities of staging a World Cup every 2 years. It's been met with criticism. Obviously, you know, footballers at club level have a lot of irrelevant games, I feel, and a heavy schedule. Club has been made with the same as well. I'm not going to sit here and say listen, I want it to stay at 4 years, but I'm not going to lie. When I move away from my opinion and I deep it, sorry, folks, cornmeal porridge, I'm not necessarily against it. I can't cap. Like, I do think it would lose its magic, but at the same time, what relevance do I have to, what basis do I have to say that? Would it really? I don't know. But a World Cup with 48 teams from 2026 has already been decided. Whether it will take place every 2 or 4 years or 4 years, that is under consultation. Definitely believe in having more prestigious events, whether the World Cup or anything else, precisely because it's a magic tournament. Is perhaps why it should happen more often. The prestige of an event depends on its quality, not its frequency. You have the Super Bowl every year, Wimbledon or the Champions League every year, and everyone is excited and waiting for it. And he also said that FIFA is looking to expand the Club World Cup that is held annually. We'd like to increase the value of national championships and domestic leagues. We need to find the right format that won't be too disruptive to the calendar and all other events. Apparently, Infantino also asked if Israel could host the World Cup, and he said the country co-hosting the event with its neighbors in the Middle East was definitely an option. And I'm not sure if that's really feasible based on, you know, the geopolitical things going on and whatnot, but let's stay away from all of that. But for what it's worth, people, it is what it is in that regards. So yeah, man, that's that. Yeah, interesting, isn't it? I just think a lot of this is empty threats. Whether they happen are two different things, man. Makes sense why they would want that. It pushed aside the Euros, because that would destroy the importance of it at some point. But would it though? Even though I agree, would it? How would it? Like, because that's my logic. I agree with you, but how? You know, how does it lose its prestige every 4 if it's not every 4 years and it's every 2 years? You know, because I agree with you, but then I find myself how? Because, you know, all these other events are happening every 2 years. I mean, every year. So why would it every 2 years? What's the difference? You know, if anything, I want to see that more, you know, really, you know, now that I think about it, I'm not, you know, I'm for everything. I want it to stay the same, but then I start questioning my own logic. Not the same thing, but how, man? How? Imagine if the same country won it 5 years in a row, then what do you think the feeling would be? To be fair with you, it can't be 5 years in a row. It's every 2 years. So it can't be. Literally, it can't be, you know? And even if they win it, they still have to win it on merit. Like, no one's gonna they're not gonna put a gun to everybody's head and say, let me through to the next round. They're still gonna have to win it. So how does that take away the magic or the prestigiousness of the World Cup that is placed every 4 years? Because as much as there's magical World Cups, for me, '02, the big one for me, the best one I've seen for me. '06 was a good one, you know. 2010 was all right. 2014, I don't think it was the best. 2018, it was all right, you know. Next year we'll have to see. There's been some shit World Cups as much as there's been good ones. Let's be honest with you. So again, how? If anything, it'd be more exciting. Now that I deep it, it might potentially be more exciting. For what it's worth, I want it to stay how it is because I think there's a lot of problems and whatnot. And I do think for footballers, you have more of an opportunity to play at a World Cup because certain men are never gonna get the opportunity, or certain people might be 28, 30 right now. If you don't get called up to whatever country you're from in this World Cup, it's probably unlikely you're going to make the next one, where you might make it again and again. Certain people might find it boring. But at the same time, do they find Wimbledon boring? Surely, if you're going to find these things boring, you always find it. Every 2 years is good. Not every year. Every year can't bang. Even every 2 years is brazy as well, because again, you know, it's just more condensed fixtures and stuff. And I think there will be a lot of teething problems around it, if I'm honest with you. But we'll have to see how it develops, people. Pardon me. It's an interesting one though. It's a very, very, very interesting debate to have. The only problem is if they start pissing about with the Euros and start issuing these threats, and UEFA and FIFA start getting in their feelings, you can see how it gets long. Don't forget 11:30 business people. We're going live once again. Don't forget that. Yeah, it is what it is in that regard. What's going on here? Create a dashboard. That's blessed calm. So yeah, people. Obviously, to wrap this up, I wanted to save the best till last. So I say best till last. Just wanted to talk about. I don't even know the reason, the meaning of it, or anything. In fact, to be fair with you, just before that, apparently Europe's richest clubs will be given a bigger say on how the Champions League is broadcast and marketed after UEFA launched an open tender for marketing of its club competitions between 2024 and 2025. People, as you lot know, this has become a source of considerable frustration for the continent's elite clubs who are used to having a significant say on business matters in their domestic leagues. In fact, this frustration is one of the issues cited by the 12 clubs that tried to form a European Super League. Now, we know, especially you look at the Spanish teams, you look at the Spanish clubs, they're suffering financially. So they would probably like a better market share or to be better rewarded financially by UEFA. So maybe this is a ploy to kind of prevent Super League. I don't think we've seen the death of Super League. I think it's just going to be, polished up a different way. They're going to, I think we're going to see it again. I don't know when, but we're going to see it again. And as much as I don't believe in it, I don't think it's a bad thing, because I don't believe in UEFA. I don't believe in FIFA. I don't believe in the Premier League. They're all out here to get peas, in it. So it doesn't matter. And I can't lie. The more I moved away from the hysteria and whatnot of the Super League and broke it down, morally, was it the right thing to do? I'm not sure, but looking at it, it wasn't necessarily the worst. So make of that what you will, people. Ever since that crisis, UEFA has been working closely with the European Club Association, the organization that obviously represents more than 240 leading clubs, to make sure the game's aristocrats never have any excuse to threaten a breakaway again. In short, to keep them sweet, people. Expanding the number of games and teams in the Champions League post 2024 is one part of that effort, and Tuesday's announcement of an open tender to replace team is another, which obviously is the marketing thing. So yeah, and obviously PSG and Ben's chairman Nasser El Khafavi has said we need to work with UEFA to better optimize revenues from club competitions. To that end, we have recently negotiated a letter of intent with UEFA to establish a new model for commercializing UEFA's club competitions. This new model will be a joint venture between the ECA and UEFA, with ultimate responsibility for the business and commercial side of the club competitions, resulting in new and better commercial rights and strategies. In addition, they will also work with UEFA on ways to maximize the value of the new post-2024 format, known as the Swiss model, and to improve club relations with national associations, which is in everyone's interest, people. So again, make of that what you will as well, folks. But yeah, it sounds a brazy, if I'm completely honest with you lot. 2024 Champions League expanding reaction. Sorry, folks. Now we can actually get into the fun part, people. The absolute fun part in what I call. I don't even know if these are unpopular opinions or anything. I was just sitting there and thinking about my own thoughts as an Arsenal fan, and I thought, you know what, it might make sense to just spit them off with you lot and see where you lot feel, man. Now I know I'm open to debate and stuff, but these are what I call my non-negotiables, man. But just before I get into that, you're right, Idel. Champions League is every year though, and the same guys watch that exactly. So that's what I'm saying. Once you get past the euphoria of, oh my god, I've grown up with the World Cup every 4 years, you can't change it, and you break it down, it makes sense. Again, I'm not for it, I'm not against it. I don't really feel you can pick a side, really. These third world countries should be allowed to host. If so, I mean, the way I see it, it would reduce unnecessary games, which promotes healthy competition. Afro Sambo, that's a good way of looking at it. Fair play. Fair play. There obviously is a lot of knock-on effects that could make it a bad decision, but we'll have to see in time. So yeah, people, I just wanted to offer like my unpopular opinions on like a couple Arsenal unpopular opinions. I don't know if it's going to make sense, but this is mainly to just do with this season. I'm just going to spit them off. I've got some that I don't feel are that bad, and I've got some that might you lot might feel some sort of way. So I think I've actually written down some unpopular Mikel Arteta opinions, or what I feel are unpopular opinions in my book. So make of that what you will. But the first one, Pepe can be a misunderstood genius and Pepe can stay. What I mean by that is he's never going to be our talisman. He's never going to be our Mo Salah, our Eden Hazard. You know, he's never going to be one of them. He's never going to justify or probably hit all of them variables to justify 70 million. Not that it's that. That doesn't mean he can't be a good player. I think he can be utilized. I think he has improved as a player. I'd actually think, as much as I've criticized Arteta for not playing him and whatnot, not this season, he's made him a better all-round player. Now, the penny needs to drop for him, but you get the point. So I do think, that's one unpopular opinion. I don't think Pepe is amazing, but yeah, a man said I'm trying to get clipped and go viral on Twitter. You know that's not me, man. I'm just happy to say my opinions. Definitely not trying to, to be fair, if you're gonna get clipped, you're gonna get clipped in it. But I would say, yeah, Pepe can stay for one. I like Rob Holding, and what I mean by that is he could be sold. He could be sold. He could Newcastle. If you want him, you got more money in your wallet. Come and get him. But I don't think he's bad. Sometimes he does some naive stuff, of course. I think he's a competent squad option. I don't think he's bad. I do think he's a leader. I think he's more vocal than people give him credit for, and you see it with Saka. I do think he's up for the big games. I do like how he carries on. So I like Rob Holding, and I just feel away from Holding would be part of my plans unless I can find another centre half. It would be Gabriel, Saliba, Ben White. They're all playing ahead of you next season. Holding, you could be the fourth choice, and someone has to probably be the fifth. Maybe let Chambers run down his deal or sell him or bring someone else in. I don't really rate Marie, and that's the next one. Marie's not good enough. I'm sorry. I don't think he's as good a reader of a game as people give him credit for. He's probably not the best of passes. He has got a pass, but he's not the best of passes. He's actually quite naive. He actually spreads nervousness to his defense. I don't think he's actually that good of an organizer. So yeah, I don't think I think Holding's better than Marie, and I don't think Marie's good enough for this thing. And I think Marie's a waste of money. Personally, I'll always support him. He get that right, but I just think Marie's fucking shit. Pardon my language. I do think the Leno hate is unnecessary. There's been times he's underwhelmed. There's been times that I get frustrated that it's almost like he has a divine right, but people make out like he's been a bad player and he's never been 30. So there's that. I think people are disrespectful to Aubameyang. Yes, you can talk about his form, but it's almost like people forget. You can't rely on your past lows, but people forget what he's done. So I think people are quite disrespectful to Aubameyang and need to remember. Tavares scares me is another one. I think he excites me and scares me in the sense of I think you're shaky defensively, man. Very shaky defensively, but you're good going forward. And I think if you could work with him, he might be something, but it scares me that I don't know what I'm getting. And really, I'm kind of looking at it now. Really, Tierney, if Tavares is looking good in training, maybe you're getting to that stage where maybe Tavares might have to get a look and see what he can do with his first start. If he grabs his opportunity, Tierney, maybe you have to sit on the bench and wait your time. I wouldn't quite do that yet, but I think that's one to be said. I personally think Balogun's not ready for this thing yet. And I'll back him all the way, but I think he needs to go on loan or he needs to be given his 10 minutes, his 20 minutes, his occasional start to get him there. I don't think Balogun's ready for this thing. I think fans have overrated Balogun extremely a lot because of the whole contract stuff. But I still think he's got quality and I think he could have a future. But I don't think he's ready for this thing. I think Xhaka's a good player. I think Xhaka is a bit of a misunderstood player, but I just think our over-reliance on Xhaka is going to kill us, really and truly, is another one. I don't think Xhaka is as good as his fanboys make out. I don't think he's as bad as people get onto him. I think the club will never advance until we move away from our over-reliance on Xhaka in the middle of the park. And even if we get into a situation where evidently against Brighton where he didn't play, there is some logic. Xhaka could have helped us, even though there's been games where we've played rubbish and Xhaka's been there. But even for me, that scares me more. Even if you're in the situation where you say we miss Xhaka, like we used to say we miss Xhaka and David Luiz, even though it was right, that tells you where you are as a club. If they're the man that you need to make the difference. That's just what I'm saying. I also feel finally in that regards, for me, we need a keeper or two because, again, I don't really rate the young players, Conquer and Carl Hein. I think they're all right. They need to go on loan or play. Listen, for me, if they're in the first team, if anything happens to Leno or Ramsdale, they're ready to move up the ramps and be called upon. I don't think they're levels. I don't think Arthur Okonkwo is ready. I don't think my man is ready as well, Carl Hein. But yeah, so we might need a keeper or two. One centre mid would make me happy. I think we need two centre mids that can do what Xhaka does or improve that. Me personally, I would like a striker. But I would be, if you can find me like an Alexis Sanchez, you can play off that left. I know that has ramifications for a lot of players, but if you could find me someone that's going to grab goals off the left, I'd prefer that, really and truly. If we get onto some unpopular Arteta opinions, I think there's a lot of overreaction of the handling of Martinelli. And what I mean by that is I am concerned with the lack of football he's getting, of course, but I think there's an overreaction. Man, acting like he's a world-class player just sitting on the bench. He's got a lot to learn on, and there's a lot of tactical reasons for him not being in the team. Smith Rowe's locked down that left-hand side. Pepe and Saka have also done that before. Aubameyang's been shoehorned over there. I'm not agreeing with these things, but there's stuff. As much as I'm saying that Arteta needs to play man more, Xhaka shouldn't be vital to our midfield. This is unpopular opinions. He shouldn't be vital to our midfield. And you, as a midfielder who played for this club and played in the Premier League, and your technical director, your love interest on Xhaka is only going to take you so far. You're not going to return to Europe with Xhaka in your midfield. And I want to be wrong in that regards, but you're not. You're not. And when you rely on these certain players, the foundation is not strong enough. They're not. He shows the good, bad, the ugly. The Xhaka against City, the Xhaka against Spurs, two different very players. And we go through these moments with these players. 5 games, they're amazing. 5 games, they're shaky. Me, I'm tired of those moments personally. And yeah, I want to say for me personally, I need to see a plan. Oh, I need to see Arsenal be a bit more direct. I don't see Arteta's plan beyond shoehorning Smith Rowe and Odegaard in the team. And a lot of fans were crying, oh my God, how are they going to play? You can't have both. Signing Odegaard's going to harm Smith Rowe, blah, blah, blah. There's 38 games in the league and however many up in the cups typically. But there's games for both. There's games for one. I think against Brighton, obviously, in hindsight, that was a game for one. Now, in hindsight, Smith Rowe played the best in that game. It was a game for Smith Rowe. And I think I need to see a plan from the over-reliance on them two. I need to see you have the confidence to take one out. And I need to see a bit more directness. Because I do think if we had a bit more direct wingers against Brighton, we might have fared a bit better because their fullbacks wouldn't have got forward as much people. So I need to see a bit more of a plan. And I need to see a bit more stability, like your first choice 11. But I need to see you able to chop and change where you can. Now, to be fair, he did it against Spurs, against Brighton. I'm not going to say he shouldn't have changed the team because we drew. We've got 10 points from a possible whatever. But I did feel it maybe go free at the back and whatever. And generally with Arteta, your lack of game management and fixing and being proactive, I do think that might cost you at some point, people. So I would say that would be some of my quote unquote unpopular opinions, if you could say such, people. So yeah, that would be it, really. So yeah, that would literally be it. Really appreciate that. We need to get a lot of players out the door. Facts, bare players need to come out the door, broski. Bare players, man. With a Holding and Saliba backup partnership sharpen, Holding like Evans and Fofana. To be fair with you, if Holding and Saliba are together, I'd expect Holding to be the more leader of the two. Obviously, Saliba's your more quality player, potential and all of that, but Holding's still naive, but he's been around the block a bit more than Saliba. I'm not too sure. I see the angle, but I don't quite think, Evans is, you got to look at Evans. He he very street smart before he got to that point at Leicester or at West Brom. Holding's still naive himself. So I see the angle, but don't quite think he's adapting. Tavares looks a prospect. I'd put him as a left or right winger rather than left back or right back. To be fair, I see the logic. Would you take Socrates back over Marine? Nah, man, just clip them both, bro. Because I did like the fact that Socrates. I think one thing that went against Socrates is the modern days. Like, he's not really certy with the ball at his feet. But one thing I did like about Socrates, he wanted to celebrate in tackles. Like, it's very rare for me at Arsenal. Do we come across defenders that want to defend? I get the vibe that Gabriel likes to defend. He's sluggish through the trenches. I don't get the Ben White's my guy, but you could tell he's not really loving defending like that. I don't feel, from what I've seen with Saliba on loan at Marseille, Saint Etienne, or Nice, and what I might see coming back to the Emirates, that he likes defending. I like my defenders, the Vidic sort, the Rio sort, so Campbell sort, Tony Adams sort. I don't like to praise him because the man, they're racist, but John Terry, putting your face on the line. I don't really come across those defenders, and I don't think we've got too many of them at Arsenal, really. Unpopular opinion, Aubameyang should have been sold after the FA Cup win. I mean, there's logic behind that. I was off the topic of keeping him. Still maintain that. Obviously, ish happens. He's not doing the business. But I would have thought it would have been more harm than good, because you sell him and then, at the time, my man scoring 20 league goals plus for us, a club like Arsenal, to get that, obviously you're gonna have to pay big money, or you're gonna need to take a chance on these new age strikers, and it didn't look good. So I hear that though. To be fair, a lot of Arsenal fans wanted to sell him the summer before, and I think there's been a lot of chopping and changing in that regards. So yeah, man, it makes sense. Make sure you're subscribing with Amazon Prime to support the channel, and if you don't want any ads, what the process? I don't know. I don't know about that. Hindsight is, but everybody's a genius in hindsight, man. There are some things I've looked at the club and thought, what you lot doing? But yeah, everyone's a genius in hindsight. Not him, because obviously he's saying if you believe that, then that's your thing. Apparently, there's been several arrests made after hungry fans clash with police at Wembley. Um, what else has been there? Apparently, Newcastle transfer rumors. They're eyeing Lynette. They're looking at Fufana. I mean, Fufana, Real Madrid were looking at you, in it, bloody hell. And apparently, for what it's worth as well, people, the PIF, Public Investment Fund, Saudi Arabian guys, apparently they're ready to offer 1 billion in an attempt to buy Inter Milan from the Zhang family. Which again could obviously clean up their image and whatnot. And apparently the PIF are looking to clean Saudi Arabia's public image through football, and they're looking to create a network across the game. They now want to buy Inter Milan, Marseille, and another club in Brazil. So they're ready to do a mazza, in it, really. Like, they're ready to do a madness. Man said, what adds trust? Are they allowing tickets to these nations? Are you talking about Hungary? Not a clue, bro. Probably, yeah. All I would say is, could they not have foresaw this? Like, a blind man could see, a Mazda was going to happen when these lot came. Just like, it's sad to say, but when it's time for English fans, whether it's in the Champions League or England play Italy, when you go to Italy, some of you are going to get corralled because some of you were doing nonsense to the Italians here, and some of the Italians were doing nonsense here. So some of the Englishmen can go over there and do nonsense. So you already know what time it is, and you can imagine the Italians are going to be ready for that with the feds and whatnot. England were very naive. Again, all you need to do is go back to the Euros to consider at your national stadium. You need to be, whether it's heavily policed, outnumbered them or whatever, because if you heavily, people are not idiots. Them fans there, they knew they had a chance against the Raleigh. Why do you think you're seeing one man just go, bidoof, 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 and then you see them moving back? If you outnumbered them, it's a myth. So again, you take these chances. These are the things that happen. You've chosen to put yourself in jeopardy. So it's a myth in that regards, man. You've corralled yourself. You've coalesced yourself, really and truly. Like, it's a bit of a madness, and it's just unsavory scenes, man. For me, anyways, during Black History Month, even though I don't believe in the fucking nonsense of Black History Month, because it's listen, we'll be here all day talking about Black History Month, innit? But just to see, the booing of the knees, the racist thing, the carrying on, like, it's just a mazza, innit? Like, it's a mazza. It's absolute mazza, man. People don't care about things that don't affect them. Exactly, bro. And even, RIP that lady who got hit up by the Fed, the white lady who got hit up by the feds. But I mean, I'm not gonna lie. So minorities have been saying for ages the police are corrupt, they're not this, they're not that. And it just seemed like as soon as that one there opened up and that thing there happened, people started listening. Oh, maybe the police are thingied and whatnot. Deluded is football gentleman's sport played by hooligans? I don't know to answer that question now. That you'd have to ask someone more knowledgeable than myself. What I would say is football is one of the very few places in society where people can carry on with certain foolishness that they can't, and then that's how they do their thing, man. Come on. A man said Arsenal versus Leeds game possible lineup. DG just bought 5 North Bank lowers this time. East stand dead. Hey man, we're gonna have to get through the first couple of games at this moment in time before I give you that, man. No, I don't think. No. Our gov should deny them access. No. You get into it as listen. Obviously, there's ways of going around things and whatnot, and I'm sure there was many hungry fans that were shocked by what some of their countrymen were doing and behaving. But I think anytime you deny somebody entry into a country because of their nationality, you're in a very dangerous ground. You're in a very dangerous territory. To be fair, a lot of hungry fans did get turned away from the ground, obviously for being silly. But yeah, man, I think that one there is a bit mad. If I'm honest with you, that one there, yeah, you don't want to. You start getting into that territory, things start getting mad. If I'm completely honest with you, but it is what it is in that regards, man. As I said though, folks, please make sure you're all, bro. Nah, it's very dangerous territory, bro. If you can start doing that stuff, because if they'll do it to them, man, what do you think they're gonna do to us, bro? What do you think they're gonna do to the commoner? You know, it's peak when you start doing stuff like that. Obviously, if you've got a history of being an idiot and carrying on a certain sort of way, then yeah, you should be. But just because you're from Hungary or you're from this and that, being racist on a consistent basis with no punishment, bro, there is no punishment. This is why I think the only punishment is if it's in your power, bro. I don't advocate violence, but I just know at least if someone calls someone an effing this or effing or that or something derogatory, if you bust their nose, they'll at least think twice. So yeah, be racist as much as you want. You might have enjoyed it, but you ain't gonna be able to breathe too tough at this moment. So literally, I think you've got to kick out racism the right way. All this kumbaya stuff, all this education thing is dead. It's dead. It's assuming people are not educated. It's big 2021, and me as a young black man, I'm exhausted. I mean, I can't tell no one else. You lot can do the education thing. I just find it, very silly. People can't see color until it's time to abuse you. People see it. People saying they can't see color is very ridiculous, in my opinion, as well. Because it just absolves you mean it means you don't see me, and I think ideally, I think as well, it shows it shows an unconscious bias and a privilege in another way. If you have the privilege to say I don't see color, that's because of who you are. People like us, or like, it doesn't matter if you're black, brown, even if you're a woman, whatever. But well, you get what I mean with that one. You've got no choice but to see these things, because everything is, they tell you it's not all about color. Everything's about color. Police stop me in a hoodie. Police stop me in a suit. It's all about color. You go into the education system. You go into anything. You know how you're perceived by fellow people. How you go into a club. If I'm with five white mates, I'm getting in. If I'm with five black mates, oh sorry, dude, this and that. They're lying. Everyone's got shoes. You got you got trainers and all these things. Anyway, any excuse not to let you in. So everything is always about effing color. And then they say it's not. We've got no choice. And I think that's where a lot of people go wrong when they see things like black pride and things, because of what white power and all these things are typically associated with the KKK and things. They think that's the same. No, this world tells you shouldn't love your skin. And the same goes for other nationalities and cultures and whatever. But me as a black man, it's told not to love you. You're told to hate yourself. So when you see things like that, it's the other way around. But people know this. People don't want it to change. It's big 2021. And I'm not with this education thing, because I've been there. I've sat at the BComs and the kick it out events, and we're sitting down and we're saying the same things over and over again. And is it not boring? Is it not, it sounds great being in this room, but once you leave the room, what going for tomorrow? A lot of these fat cats in society, just like in football, they haven't had direct experiences of being abused, of being marginalized, of being made to feel a certain sort of way. So why would they care? This is why racism isn't being fixed. There's no money in it, so don't give a crap. So will it ever change? I don't know. And for me, anyways, when I look around at football clubs, bro, I don't see people that look like me. So again, there's gonna be no mandate. People, and I'm not saying just because they don't look like me means they don't care. I've not once said that. But it's they haven't got a personal mandate to wanna fix these things, And even me, I look at it, it's like, bro, I look at my club, Arsenal. Let me actually find it. Arteta wins manager of the month. Sorry, folks. I need it's nothing to do with Arteta, just to highlight it, Obviously, now when you go through, look at the Arsenal, just do something for me, yeah. Think of just write down or shout out every black player that comes to mind at Arsenal Football Club, yeah, or not even in the past, just right now. You know what? Saka, Aubameyang, Partey, Lokonga, Gabriel, Tavares, etc., 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 etc. Yeah, boom. As you start going up the levels, it stops reflecting. I'm proud with that, because I see, that's what London looks like. A lot of diverse, different faces, all of these sort of things, people. As you start going up the levels, it gets less and less. Now, occasionally, you might look at a physio, any team, and look at the physio thing. You might see a random Asian guy or black guy. You might see a one guy. You don't know much about him. You might see a one guy. I know Liverpool used to have one, but you don't see it enough. You might see an occasional black coach and things, but then you look at here, and I'm not criticizing Arsenal or Arteta. I'm looking at the dynamics, bro. Does this reflect our football clubs are meant to be communities? Does this reflect the diversity of North London? Does this reflect the diversity of the playing staff? So again, this is what we're going against in football. Do you get it? I'm not saying nobody shouldn't be here and things, but again, does this reflect, if this was Arsenal, does that reflect Arsenal? And I'm not demonizing anyone. Does this reflect Arsenal Football Club? And if we was to do the same logic elsewhere, there'd be things. So This is the territory we're at. So this is why I have a hard time doing all this kumbaya stuff and all this racism is bad and all these things, because it's dead. It's dead. Like, we know it's bad, we know it's wrong, we know whether you're white, black, woman, whatever, nobody should be disadvantaged, no one should be marginalized, no one should be treated a certain sort of way. You should be judged on your morals, your principles, how you conduct yourself, how you react with others. But this is the life we're living, and there's many different denominations. There's the scenes you see at Hungary and with England at times, where it's just blatant racism. You effing this, you effing that, you effing the other. Then you've got the unconscious bias. It comes down to the way black players are being described, how other people are being described, how their stories are being told. It's cool to stand up for Raheem Sterling now, much like it is cool to talk about police or whatever being racist. At a time, you were saying the race card, or you saying he brings it on himself, or you were saying if you've got nothing to hide walking down the street, then it shouldn't be a problem. There's zero representation in the areas. There's you don't really see minority owners and all these things. And then a lot of them are away from society. And as much as I think there's a lot for the other people to go and do, you start looking internally. There's a lot of black folk who, listen, I'll never lie to you lot. I'll never, ever, ever, ever lie to you lot. There's a lot of black people that don't give a crap. As far as I'm concerned, I'm in the castle now. You lot can fuck off. I'm here now. I don't care. It's not for me. I never let it be involved. This is the crabs in a barrel mentality we're coming with. There's a lot of people, Again, John Barnes he's not that, but off topic, John Barnes is a man I can't stand. Why do you think when it comes to speaking about racism and things like that, John Barnes is the one on mainstream TV? Because he says it in a way to make people feel comfortable. Racism, much like talking about women being abused and all these things, it's not meant to be comfortable. It's not meant to save your feelings. It's not meant to be I'm not doing it. We know you're not doing it, so shut the fuck up and listen, sort of thing. But this is why, for me, and I've had a couple of offers to do things I lost my trail of thought. I've had a couple of offers to do things this month in relation to Black history and stuff, and I've looked at it, I'm turning it down. It's like, nah, you're not with it. When something 30 comes, I'll do it, but it's like, you're not with it. You're not interested in that. You just want to do this PR thing because it looks good for brands to say, oh, we're standing up and this and that. People just want to be seen saying the right things. And I think it's not to say I know more or anything less, but I think one thing you could see with my YouTube from the jump, man, have been speaking about racism and these things, and I've seen it. A lot of YouTubers I used to speak to and things, they'll speak about it in public, in private, not in public. And then when they go out into the real world, they're not saying anything. And it's only now that it's cool to say these things, they're standing up. But this is human nature, man, and this is why I find it exhausting, and this is why I don't think anything is changing, folks. So it is what it is. That's how I feel with that. Sorry for going off on a tangent. Yeah, I shout out to Ozil, because again, there's too many Asian people in England that have the drug of loving football for there not to be widespread Asian footballers. And again, I hope that in the next 10 years and that you see a couple Asian players playing for England and that, and all of these sort of things, because it inspires the next generation. An Asian brother might see the first Asian England international or whatever on TV, and that might inspire him to become the first Asian in something to not do with football, the first black this or the first woman that, and all of these sort of things, bro. Like, it's a mad thing, really, man. But of course, I've seen man say they're not racist because they like John Barnes. I've seen people say I like Dion. I've watched documentaries. Man are saying I like Dion Dublin, but he can't marry my wife. They like your rhythm, but not your blues. It's as simple as that. Simple as that. Man, love Marcus Rashford. The minute he started talking about racism, shut up. It's these sort of things. I'm nowhere near these lots level, but I get it on my YouTube. I remember once I went on Curtis Shaw's channel, and then I see one comment from some brother like, just watched you on Curtis Shaw, follow subscribed. I think the next day something about racism came out, and I did a video. I've been watching your stuff all night. I love it, but you keep talking about this racism stuff. Like, fuck off then, because you don't like me. You just like what I had to say. You didn't like me. You don't need to like me, but you don't know what man's about. Man's just not here to talk football, bro. Man's representing every way. You like my rhythm. You don't like my blues. You don't like what comes with it. So get out of here with that one. But of course, John Barnes is one of the good ones. He makes people feel comfortable. Racism meant to make you feel uncomfortable. It's like if women came and talked, if we were all like all the random here, if we were sat in a room and women were talking about, I don't want to use this example, but madness is happening to them, people forcing themselves upon them, or how men carry on. It's going to make us all feel uncomfortable, because we're not like that. Or I hope you lot aren't. You know, we're not like that. We're not trying to do that. We believe in respectful and stuff. We're going to be like, but I didn't do that and that. But it's not for us. They're not attacking us. They're not attacking what we're saying. They're talking about the individuals who isn't. It's meant to make you feel uncomfortable. Too many times, especially in this country, speaking about racism is sparing opinions of people that have not been oppressed versus actually speaking about whatever. This is why it's exhausting. This is why you'll get a 1-2 video from me and whatnot, and I might clip this up, but you're not gonna see me do up the freedom fighter thing, and that was dead, fam. You know, it's dead. It's dead. It's absolutely dead. People don't want change, bro. I'm telling you, people don't want change. But it is what it is. Make sure you're subscribing with Amazon Prime to support the thing. You know, it is what it is, man. But let's not leave that on a sour note. Obviously, in 28 minutes, I'm going live once again, people. We'll speak about Thierry Henry, Arteta, and all of these sort of things. So please make sure you're following on YouTube as well as here. It's here. It's here for you lot. So yeah, make sure you're supporting the thing. I'll be back again. I don't know when I'll be back online at Twitch. I need to start doing it in the afternoon versus now. I can't lie to you lot, but in the last couple of days, it's just made more sense to do it at 10 a.m. So hopefully this has been a good live stream for you lot. You lot have, you know, enjoyed what you've seen. We've talked about a lot of stuff. I'll be back online in 28 minutes. So yeah, man, on that note, stay safe. Make sure you're taking in your DG content. Open up another tab, and I'll see you lot in a bit, people. One love to the Twitch gang.
There's always just that active red flag, defending. I think it's like